What's going on, everybody? Wesley here from the Metrix Metagame, and today I just want to take a couple minutes to talk to you guys about what I played at Worlds, the experience of playing a new hero for the first time in person, and just kind of how it went. So most of you know that I'm usually on Dash. That's all I've played since I came into the game at Everfest. Dash has been the only hero, and I liked Dash just because of the how do you put it? So she has like two decks in one, essentially, right? Because you can go in the full boost aggro plan, or you can slow things down, bring in your pistol items, and just go for the long term pistol for 5, pistol for 4. You know, we're gonna essentially pew pew for 2 to victory. And so I think back in July during Road to National season at Level Up, one of the guys was playing Boltyn, and I'd never seen Boltyn played. So the card guys all kind of linger around my local area. I live in the Atlanta area. And one of their guys was playing Boltyn. It wasn't Josh, but one of the other guys was playing Boltyn. And I got to watch combo go off, and I just thought that was like kind of cool, kind of a cool niche kind of deck. And so I started digging into Boltyn and checking him out. And I reached out to Josh Lau in August and just kind of expressed like, hey, you know, I just saw this deck get played last weekend. It looked pretty rad. What, you know, do you have any time that you could possibly like teach me about this deck? So him and I sat some time aside. He went through the deck, kind of explained like, you know, how to get to combo, what we're looking for after combo, ways to like mitigate our life down, or mitigate the loss of life until we get to combo. So hopefully we can get it. And then him and I played a game of Briar versus Boltyn, where he kind of like held my hand Barney style through the game, just so I could get a feel of like what Boltyn is supposed to do in these matchups. So we fast forward to Nationals. I had the deck built for Boltyn. I didn't quite feel comfortable piloting Boltyn in a rated event because I still felt Boltyn was kind of foreign to me. Even with like Talishar and Tabletop Simulator and everything, local armory events, I just didn't feel like I had enough games with Boltyn where like it felt I would do well. So I put Boltyn on the shelf for Nationals. I played Dash again at the Calling at Nationals. And then finally, I kind of got it in my head that I wanted to play Boltyn at the Calling in San Jose. So I started, looking at decks, building my own deck, jamming games on Talishar, bouncing things off Josh, asking Josh questions, kept jamming more games on Talishar. And then when we booked our tickets to fly in for Worlds, I told Brandon, I said, hey, I'm going to pick this event. I think this is the event that I'm going to play Boltyn. And I put my list together, kind of, no help. Of course, there's like, the templates that Josh has out there of what he's playing. I made a deck that was very similar to one of the builds, but just I think 5 or 6 cards were different. And I showed up on Friday, bumped into Josh while he's in the middle of his rounds of CC Swiss, asked him how it's going. We talked a little bit, told him I was going to be playing Boltyn in the Calling the next day. And he asked me what did my list look like, and I explained what was on my list, a couple cards. And when I named one of the cards, he shook his head in disapproval. So he had switched his list up a little bit to include E-Strikes again, and I was off E-Strikes. And I think the other one was like I had like one time snap potion in there, and I needed to pull that out. So of course, now we're scrambling at the event trying to find an E-Strike, a play set of E-Strikes that no one's using, that I can use for Saturday. And luckily, I had a friend that had a play set with him, my friend Andrew. Shout out to you, buddy. Thank you so much for letting me borrow those. And the deck was set. We were good. We were ready for Saturday. So Saturday, we walk in. Our first round, we go against an Oldham. So in my previous practice before Worlds, I was playing Raiden into Oldham. And Josh told me, when I saw him Friday, that if we can play around Frostbite and if we can play around Frostbite tokens that we'll get from Stalagmite, play around his Ice React, and play around Blizzard, that we can combo Oldham no problem. So you know, I'm still reluctant because I didn't practice this, right? So I'm going in round one with a strategy that I've not practiced because I don't try to combo hold them, because the second I go B King grab Illumina, if I don't have another card in my hand, like Oldham's just going to tell me to put my combo piece back on the top of my deck, and we're not going off this turn. So that kind of sucked. But it worked out. We effectively played around all the shenanigans that Oldham has to offer us, and I was able to combo into Oldham at, like, I think 31 minutes. He was at 2 life. So it was a good feeling, and I felt like I had the game, because the only combo of cards that I'm afraid of from Oldham is Pummel CNC, because I can't Fate Soul Shield it. That demands CNC, really. I mean, if we haven't comboed yet, more than likely a piece of our combo is in the arsenal, and we have to give 2 cards, and when we pummel it, we're just going to lose a 3rd card from our hand and our arsenal. So we're losing 5 cards, and that really sucks. So luckily we only saw one of those. And then the second, he came up with a couple other cards of like nasty on hits, and then finally he gives me a Macho Grande, and I'm like, cool, take it. And then we went off into combo. We did well. We ended up closing that game out with a rout. That's always, such a sneaky way to close a game, but man. So that was round 1. Round 2, we had a Briar. I think just lost due to variance. There's nothing I don't think there's anything that they could have done better except draw better. They played 3 Sonatas in 3 turns, and all 3 Sonatas were misses. So they would play Sonata, reveal 3 cards, 3 non-attack actions, and that was incredible. So that game was just, we'll chalk that one up, win to variance. I can't really, there's nothing really special that stands out from that game. Round 3 was Katsu, and I think round 3 I don't know if I made a mistake, but I was definitely sweating a little bit because Katsu was on CNC. Wasn't expecting that. Katsu, I thought that I could raise Katsu. Life totals got super low before combo. I think I was like 13 or something when I comboed, so I was like really, really worried. But luckily I comboed. I had chipped enough of his life away, like through the course of the game, where I think I was at like 13 and he was at like 27 when I went into combo. So then life total stabilized. We definitely shifted the tempo back in our favor, and then we draw into a take flight, Celestial Cataclysm, Swing Saber. So we're just keeping tempo at that point, and yeah. So I mean, Katsu, I think with the new Dynasty upgrades, Katsu might be something to worry about, because Tiger Swipe is that card's stupid. So we're 3-0. We go into round 4. We finally draw an Icelander, and that's like the one matchup I really didn't want to see. I didn't have a lot of practice in Icelander, despite her being so abundant on Talishar. I just kind of did the old school Guardian plan of dodge Prism. I just wanted to dodge Icelander. So we hope for the best there. We hope for the best, and Talishar practice does not translate to perfect paper practice. So in Talishar, it always automatically ticks our tunic. It does all these triggers for us. In paper, when we forget that tunic trigger, that is painful. So the game, our life totals were like 5 and 5. And no, 7 the Icelander, 5 me. And I had missed a tunic trigger, so my tunic was still sitting on 2. That really sucks. I had an E-Pot in play. The line was going to be take flight, charge, Raiden, banish, give it, go again, and then play Valiant Thrust and kill. I Icelander chose like this is their time to go off, and I think like I still might have could have won it if I did my sequencing on my turn a little bit differently, like perhaps break my E-Pot first, so I still had a full grip of cards, because they came in with a, I think it was like a, I don't know what it was, like Aether Ice Vein unfused for 3, and then they came in with a Waning Moon for 3. So like that's 6 damage, right? And I had no resources because the way that I sequenced my turn, I had no resources currently floating. I had a card in Arsenal, and then I had an E-Pot. So if I would have been able to just prevent like one of each, then I would have lived at 1 life, and we would have been okay. So, you know, there's like other things that mounted up to me losing that game. A big part of it is just like not practicing the matchup. So, I mean, if there's like a matchup that you guys don't like, I really recommend just jamming it, because you're going to see it. And I can say that, you know, without a shadow of doubt, that my lack of preparation into that matchup, my lack of preparation into that matchup ultimately led to my loss. And of course, being babied by talishar, automatically ticking our tunic. I mean, like I said, you just have to remember these things. There's no excuse. So round 5, we go into a Dromai. And Dromai is like kind of a faster match, in my opinion, because you can launch things like, let me pull up my Dromai matchup here. Because you can launch things like Bolt of Courage. You can launch things like Blue Engulfing Lights, Red Engulfing Lights, things that will clear dragons, and then get the cool perks of it hitting, right? So we can go to Soul, we can build Soul quickly, we can draw extra cards. Ideally, we can get to combo pretty quick. The thing with the Dromai matchup was when I went into combo, I went pretty early, and then I ended up pretty much banishing all the stuff that I needed, banishing with Lumina, all the stuff that I needed to really close the game. So I like put 2 Valiant Thrusts in there. I had 3 Celestial Cataclysms. Just not good. Not good at all. So trying to close the game with Dromai at like 12 health and just not having the answers to close really kind of sucked. But again, that's variance, that's card games, that's what happens sometimes. Sometimes you high roll, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you banish the cards you don't want to banish, sometimes you banish all the perfect cards. It happens. So we won 3, we now lost 2. Round 6 is probably like the most heartbreaking round for me, because I had it won. So round 6 we drew a Briar, and round 6 we drew a Briar, and the Briar was kind of they were hitting their Sonatas, they were presenting good damage. We get to combo, and I look at my hand, and I think my hand was like Lumina in Arsenal, Lumina in hand, Engulfing Light with a card that I'm going to charge, and a Beacon of Victory, right? So like I have triple Lumina, and you know, this is later on in the day. We've been playing for 6 hours. I've been up for 7 or 8 hours. I'm kind of drained, like mentally just kind of checked out. And for some reason, my brain said, like, hey, we need to break Gallantry on this turn. And I don't know why we did that, because we had triple Lumina. So for some reason, my brain prioritized an extra 1 damage from Gallantry Gold on each swing, rather than still getting the extra 1 damage from Lumina and getting to swing an additional 2 times. And, I sat there after the game, after I lost, just not able to close it out, and kind of like recalling my turns, thinking about what I could have done differently. And then I remember, like, then I'm sitting there thinking, like, why did I do that? Why did I give up triple Lumina for a Gallantry Gold? The only thing I can say is I'm human. I make mistakes. Lesson learned. Very painful. And now we're X3, so painful. So round 7 we draw another Oldhim, and this Oldham was kind of like, he felt more like Bravo. Bunch of stompy attacks, pummeling, coming in with, and it just never felt like it never stopped. Like, never stopped. But the cool part is I didn't see many like other cards like that felt like disruption. Like I didn't see a CNC, nothing like that. I just saw big attacks. So when we finally get to combo, he comes in with I think it was Choke Slam. I think it was Choke Slam, if I remember correctly. That's the one that like it makes it where your attack action cards. Yeah, cool. So he comes in with Choke Slam, and it says, Choke Slam says if it does 4 or more damage to your hero, attack action cards they control cannot gain attack. Okay, well, cool. Like, we're gonna combo, and it's my swords, it's my weapons that are gonna gain, so we're good. So I let Choke Slam hit, Crush effect resolves, and I go into combo, and we combo him up, and then we get to the last closing seconds of the game, and I go take flight, 2 floating, charge, celestial cataclysm, and then present a saber. So my opponent's looking at me like, okay, so they block all that out, and no problem, they're alive. They're at 2 life. So my last turn, I go saber. I had to block to preserve some of my life. I kept 3 cards, and I go saber. And then he's like, okay, like, what are the odds that you're on Razor Reflex? Because I guess like what he was thinking is like, maybe I go saber, Razor Reflex, banish from Boltyn, swing another saber, right? So we get 7 damage. The actual card in my hand was Rout, and and I just forget like how sneaky that card is. And I know Josh put out a video a while back showing Razor Reflexes in the deck for like the raid to help the Raiden build along. And so he gives like an attack action card and an earth card. And I think that was might have been a misplay on his part, because then I returned the attack action card to his hand with Rout coming in for 5. So now we're killing him. And I'm asking him like, do you any reaction? So I'm asking him, does he have the earth react? If he doesn't have the earth react, then we win. And I already banished from Boltyn, so I can swing another saber just in case that Rout doesn't get him. And he in fact did not have the earth react. The one earth card that he had in his hand was already on the field, and we closed that game out. It felt really good. Always a sneaky way to close games out with Rout. So then round 8, we're X3, kind of bummed that we knew that we dropped the game against Briar. But the day ended out on a really cool match. So my last match was against a Phi, and Laurent is from France. And we sit down, we reveal our heroes, and he informs me that he has never seen a Boltyn player before. I guess the local area where he plays, he said no one's playing Boltyn. He hasn't played against a Boltyn. And so I just told him, like, dude, we're X3. If you have any questions about what I'm doing, just stop me and I'll explain like what's going on. So you understand like what I'm doing. And so we begin playing, and when I get to combo, I knew there was gonna be questions when we got to combo. So I get to combo and I start taking my actions to go into combo. And Laurent looks at me and he's like, wow, there's a lot going on. So he goes, I'm going to trust whatever you're doing is correct. And I kind of stopped the game for a minute. I was like, no. Look. We are X3, right? Like, let's just have a good game. And you haven't seen Boltyn before. So I will explain each card of my combo. And if you have any questions and I can't explain it, and I didn't explain it well enough, then we can call a judge and maybe they can explain it better than I can. So we kind of like snail crawled through our through combo. That way he could grasp everything that was going on. And I told him, I was like, the big thing is like making sure your Boltyn player reacts before damage. Because if they don't react before we go to damage, technically you can call a judge. And there was no reactions. We went to damage. There's no go again. Like, combo's dead. And in competitive level, that's big, because after Boltyn combos, he's not really too scary. especially if you're not at like, you know, lethal life totals. So you know, after that, you know, Laurent got to be educated on a hero that he hasn't experienced the game with yet, and you know, I gained a new friend out of it. We exchanged a resource token. That way, whenever he goes back to France, perhaps he'll remember our game. And you know, with that, you know, that was my adventure of going 5-3 with Boltyn at the Calling in San Jose. This was my first in-person pilot of the deck. Just want to give Josh Lau from the Card Guyz a huge shout out. I don't know if my deck would have done this well, or, you know, even like your tidbits of advice throughout the day on like different matchups or like stuff you were learning as you were going. You know, thank you, man, so much for the advice. I really like, you know, really enjoy, am enjoying Boltyn, and I'm enjoying him so much. You guys can see back there, over here, I got the man watching me now, so I was able to pick one of those up at the Calling in San Jose, and I think this is gonna be here I stick around with for a while. I'm excited to see what the changes of Dynasty bring with the new legendary necklace, and with that, we will catch you guys next time, and thanks again for watching.